everybody, I'm Abhyuday, and today we are going to discuss about a great empire in India. That was the Mughal Empire, and it was the largest Muslim kingdom in India. Okay, let's start. But before, we have a question, don't we? Yes, when did the Mughals came to India? Well, to answer that question, we have to see that in the early 1500s. They came in the 1500s. By 1520, they didn't come exactly in the 1500s. 1500 was the time of the Delhi Sultan, and by 1528, the Delhi Sultan was established. Then in 1560 to 1590, between these two, the Mughals came. Then it was end of the Delhi Sultan somewhere in 1580, and then by 1600, the Mughal were in full power. But I don't mean full. The first emperor of the Mughal was Babur, the great emperor. So Babur was a general of the great Mongol Empire. So this is the Mongol, and in Mongol there is Genghis Khan. Well, let's call him G, okay? And in Genghis Khan is Babur. Let's call him B. Well, you might be asking, what is Babur's spelling? Well, you might think it's very different, but it's B-A-B-U-R. Babur. So, General Babur was the general of the Mongol Empire. Genghis Khan was eagerly looking at India, but he had to send his general Babur to do that, because Babur was a very powerful general, and when he came to India, he made the Mughal Empire. Well, he also received support from the Turkish Empire, the Arab Empire. When I mean Arab, I mean Persia, and the Mongol Empire. Well, the Turkish and Persian had already helped set the Delhi Sultan. Now they don't like the Delhi Sultan, and that's why they're going towards the Mughal. So when these three combined, it was assumed that it would be a Mongol victory, but actually it would be a Mughal victory, which was just created. Let's call it MU for short, okay? Now, there was another Muslim kingdom nearby, and that Muslim kingdom was the kingdom of Delhi Sultan. The Delhi Sultan were three kingdoms, and right now they were putting the third kingdom, which is the third region of the kingdom. So the last ruler was Ibrahim Lodi, and fun fact, Delhi Sultan was the first and only sultan to put a woman on his throne in India, or maybe in the whole world. That woman was the great Razia Sultan, who was a Muslim. Okay, let's get to the fun fact. This is the Delhi Sultan. Let's call it Delhi SUL for sure. Delhi. When Babur's small 12,000 army came to the giant Ibrahim Lodi army, consisting of about 100,000 men. But Babur had advantages, as he had guns, he had elephants, and loyal men. So, these went into Babur's army. Babur reached among the Delhi a part of the Delhi Sultan called Panipat. Panipat was a major battlefield located between few mountains. Ibrahim Lodi also reached Panipat, and Babur had reached Panipat earlier. They too started the first battle of Panipat, which in despite Ibrahim Lodi was killed, and Babur emerged victoriously and causing a giant collapse, which started the great Mughal Empire. The Mughal had found out that the Delhi Sultan, he had made many glorious things like the language of Urdu, which is a mix of Sanskrit, Persian, and Turkish Arab languages. Okay. Now, the Babur went to crush Rajput, which was a small kingdom. It was actually in the west. But by the time he could even reach there, Babur died. Only 5 years in his reign means this guy had died. And now we coming to the second, and I think the most worst, and this, which I think the most second worst emperor of the Mughal dynasty, which was Humayun. Now, Humayun was an excellent general and he became very famous. When his father, Babur the Great Emperor, died, then he ascended to the royal throne. Now, he realized that he was not crafty enough to mind his own business. And by that time, boom, the Mughal Empire was a little bit more bigger. Okay, but it didn't take Rajput. It was still, independent. Now, Humayun started living in a luxurious life, not minding anything. His brothers started protesting against him, but he did not mind. And soon he gave them positions of power, which is not a good sign. So, the Afghan General Sher Shah Suri, who had worked under Babur, came with an enormous army. This is Sher Shah Suri. Babur thought that he only had few tribesmen and no army, so he paid no attention. Soon, Sher Shah Suri attacked Babur Humayun, and Humayun, realizing the threat, went to Sher Shah Suri's territory, who he had impressively made, and attacked. But he was pushed out and barely escaping with his life. So, one time over here and one time at somewhere else. Both times he was defeated and he was exiled to Afghanistan. Afghanistan, and Humayun was there. But he was actually in Persian territory. Afghanistan wasn't the Persian Empire. With that, the whole Mughal rule had collapsed and came the new Afghan rule. The Afghan rule. Now, for 15 years, Humayun lived in utter poverty, and he was even enslaved on occasion. During this time, his wife gave birth to a son named Muhammad Jalaluddin Akbar, who became the greatest emperor in the Mughal dynasty. But let's drop that. Yeah. Now, when Sher Shah Suri died, his son Sikandar Suri was not able to make the Afghan Raj too big. So, Humayun, with the army, with the help of the Persian king, went to Agra and Delhi, and captured it, ending the Afghan rule and starting a new and elaborate Mughal. The other Mughal. This is the Mughal. Soon, Humayun died at the steps of his library, but he was not stayed defeated for long, as his son Akbar became the most greatest emperors in the whole Mughal dynasty. Okay, let's talk about Akbar. Now, Akbar was known as the Great. Now, if you want to see more, go to our next video, Mughal Empire Part 2. Okay? Goodbye.